And once again, a huge thank you to all of our financial supporters. Firstly, our supporters over at patreon.com/878 Survivor FM, all of our production managers. We cannot thank you all enough for your continued ongoing support. All of your names are there on the screen right now. A big shout out to our producer, Red Freedom. Mate, 18 months. You're an absolute mad lad. Cannot thank you enough. Also, we have to give a big shout out to all of our growing YouTube members, all of our new tier, the Emote Bandits, our existing tier, the 87.8 Survivors, and a special shout out to our podcast bosses, whose names are again all on the screen right there. I cannot thank you all enough. Please keep up the support. It helps our show go on each and every week, and we get to do great giveaways. And our end of year Christmas episode is going to be an absolute cracker this year, folks. All the best, and we hope you enjoy this week's show. And we are live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. G'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Spotlight on the one, the only Mr. Always Streams, who actually never streams. How you doing, buddy?
I'm fine, thank you.
I did enjoy you had a video on your channel when I was checking it out, and you actually made fun of that yourself. So I've got to ask, mate, why did you call yourself Always Streams when, to my knowledge, have you ever streamed?
I did, to start off with. In hindsight, not the best move I've ever made, but it's more of a noun, less of an adverb.
A bit of a meme now, isn't it? Like an in-joke.
Yeah, it's just, it went on. I did start on Twitch years ago, and it sort of went on there, and then I decided to just stick to YouTube. So, but I will stream again eventually.
So we'll come back to that with you starting on Twitch, but I always like to start off and get to know a little bit about my guests because I don't know much about you myself, mate. So you're from the UK?
Yeah, Liverpool.
Liverpool boy. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
And can we ask how old you are?
30.
30? You're still a young'un. I mean,
yeah, well, I've been told I sound 65, so.
And this is just we were talking before the show, and you said that you have a full-time job, and this is your side hustle. Is it known what you do for a living, or is that something you keep a bit private?
It's something I don't really talk about, but yeah, it's nothing special. It's just because there are certain vulnerable people I work with, so
yep,
it's something that I don't really put out there.
No, that's fine, mate. That's fine. Yeah, not everyone likes to share everything, and in this weird, crazy world that we live in these days, it's sometimes probably a bit wiser to have a few little secrets, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it makes it sound way more interesting than it actually is, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually quite a boring job, but for the sake of other people, yeah, I don't really put it on the internet.
Oh, and you can always use that line, mate. You know, I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
Yeah, no, I'll keep that on the back burner.
Again, you don't have to answer this one if you don't want to, but missus, kids, that sort of stuff, family.
I have a girlfriend. Yeah. Yep. I don't have any kids. She has 2 kids.
Yep.
But I don't have any at the minute.
Oh,
I mean, I assume so. Anyway, I hope so.
None that you know of. None that you know of.
Yeah. No. Yep. None that I'm willing to lay claim to.
Yep. Awesome. So you said you started a while back streaming over on Twitch. How long ago was that?
I think it was 2019, late 2019, and it was Daisy. I started streaming, and to an impressive nobody, and that stayed up for a few months, and then I was like, you know, I'm done with streaming, and I just decided, you know, this is not for me, and then I didn't touch that or YouTube for around a year.
Yep. So what spurred you back into making content?
I noticed there were a few people that I was seeing on DayZ who they were sort of struggling to just generally get into it and learn basic things. So I did a video, and I think it was something like how to find food and water, and I put that out, and then I completely forgot about it. And in about a year, I went back on the channel and realized it had like 80,000 views.
Wow.
Yeah, and then so I thought, well, people have benefited from that. So what I'll do is I'll make more videos. So then I made server videos, which again are like my second most successful or something along them lines. I
Mm-hmm.
made some server videos for people, and I actually made them at the beginning of the year, and then I thought what I'll do is I'll put them out at the end of the year, and for whatever reason I forgot about them again, and then again about 3 months later went back to it, and I was like, oh, these videos have been doing quite well as well, way after they'd been released. So I thought I'll just, if this helps people, if it connects them to a game that I enjoy, then I'm more than happy to continue to do it. And it just sort of went on from there.
Now, are you looking at the page that I've got up?
I am.
Have you ever seen this website before?
Nope. First time.
It's called Social Blade. So this is all publicly available information. And it actually shows your stats, mate. And you're a B- YouTube content creator.
Which is more than I got in school, so I'm quite happy with that grade.
And then, yeah, they do that. I always love the estimated earnings. And no, I don't want you to tell me how much you make, mate. That's between you and the missus and the tax man. But I always love.
They said?
Sorry?
What have they said? I can't see the estimated.
It's estimated that you earn yearly between $845 and $13.5 thousand from your YouTube ad revenue.
Yeah, that's not that's not accurate at all. Like it's not really. I'm not in it for the money, which is just as well, because it's not a well-paying thing at my level.
Well, and you said before, mate, that you actually get hit quite a bit with demonetization, which I don't quite understand. What reason are they giving for that?
There's a few videos that I've ended with suicides. The animation, and I put it down to that. They just say content that doesn't fit with their ideals or whatever. So
Wow.
the only thing I can sort of fit it into is that. So, and there was a video I had removed completely by them when I took somebody hostage and forced them to eat their friend. I put that out, and they just had that video removed. They weren't happy with it at all. Yeah. It's just something you have to deal with.
Now, I like this, mate. The last 30 days, your channel has grown 1,200 subscribers. Is that accurate?
Yes. That is about right.
That's some great growth, mate. That is some really, really impressive growth.
Well, that usually, from what I'm aware, is how much it goes up every month.
Yep.
More or less, around about the 1,000 mark. Which I'm quite happy with. It would be nice to triple that eventually. But yeah, 1,000 subscribers. I think in about 9 months, I've gained 11,000 subscribers.
That's impressive growth, mate. Because I was quite stunned when I found your channel. And I think it was just the YouTube algorithm actually working, and it fed me something. And I can't even remember what the first video of yours I watched. You'd probably remember better, because I think I did leave a comment on it. But you can see it here. Just, from, what's it saying there? The week of October 18th, 2021, you were, one, big, massive 21 subscribers back there in 2020, but then bam, just that bot you employed, mate, is doing its fucking job.
That was they were the videos you can see like near the beginning of the line way back. That was the first video I think I put out about the how to get food and everything, and that sort of shot up. But that was the first little bit, and then the second bit was the server guide. It was sort of how to find the server,
Yep.
what to do, the difference between them, and things like that. And then it sort of went up, and I'm really happy with it, to be fair.
Your profile pic, is that Ukrainian colors or is that something else?
Uh, yeah, it's Ukrainian colors technically. Like it was sort of put there, but then it just sort of became the channel colors.
Yep.
So now it's the channel colors, but it was plain black to start off with. It was like plain black, and then it was white, and
Yep.
I've messed about with it so much. I'm just like, that is it for now. I'm more than happy with the blue and yellow.
Yep. It looks nice. I think it's quite a simple but catchy logo, easily identifiable. Yeah, even when like with your Discord profile pic is you know the A, but it's still identifiable. Just you know the way that you chose to do it. It looks
Well, I usually, apart from Discord, I usually change the color to match whatever platform I'm on. So Twitter would be blue, Instagram would be what, like the pinky changey, like pink yellowish, and so on. But this is the only one I haven't really done it with.
okay.
Which
Now,
I need to.
I'm going to do something. I've never looked at this feature before, but let's see if they get this right.
Right.
Did it populate a tweet? No. No. Am I missing it? It's saying in 5 years' time, you will be a 615,000 subscriber channel.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That is way more than my goal. My goal is by the end of next year to be at 20,000.
What's it saying about that? In 1 year from now, it's predicting you will be at 47,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's way higher than I thought.
I like your goal, mate. Yeah, I think that's a much more realistic number. And if you exceed it, you'll be very, very happy. But from what I've seen so far of your channel, mate, and let's actually bring your channel up. So you have that. There we go. Popular uploads. So 11 months ago, 145,000 views, 106,000 views, 89,000 views. 80. You've really found a bit of a knack for. I think part of it is your thumbnails. They're catchy. They're not overly complicated. Yeah, you look at some of the guys who are doing a lot of gameplay videos, and they've really got to invest a lot of time and effort into their thumbnails. Whereas the style of videos that you're going for, which is of the same ilk, you know, there's quite a few people doing similar content to you. You know, you've got Marks, you've got Archie. I wouldn't say Wobo, because Wobo is kind of on a different level to everyone else. He goes right into the science of it, whereas you guys are sticking more to almost, you know, the surface level stuff, the basics, and, you know, stuff that everyone can understand. Whereas Wobo, when he starts talking, most of the time I'm like, what? Huh? What's he talking about? The values and damages and all the rest of it. But you're actually doing really well to stand out amongst what is not a crowded genre, but there's a bit of competition there.
Yeah, and I'm happy with how it's going, and I have seen some other creators, and there are some other really good creators as well. And I watch them, and I'm just like, wow, I need to really step my game up.
Who are the ones who stand out for you?
Well, as you say, Marks. I came across Marks about a month ago. Uh, I, I quite like his approach to things.
Yep.
Sil as well.
Yep.
I watch a lot of Sil. Uh, I mean, it's sort of hard on the spot to think of everybody, but
Look, there's a
to,
number of them. There's a number of them, and they're
yeah,
all very talented. But the
yeah,
beautiful thing is, um, I think it's an area where, there's room for quite a few of you making this sort of content, because DayZ's just it's quite a full on game, that a lot of people, they end up searching for advice on how to just do the basics, like trying to survive in the game,
yeah,
because that's the most important part of the game, is learning how to survive, unless you go to one of the easy servers. But once you've got to learn those basics, and once you've got that, then you can start worrying about the harder stuff, like the PvP, which is very brutal and unforgiving. But yeah, it's amazing. Your channel, despite when did you join? Um,
oh,
about
probably around
December
2018.
2019, end of
Oh,
2019. So right when COVID was just starting to kick off, and
yes.
yeah, and then you've exploded, and all this on a game that's coming up on 10 years old.
Yeah, I'm again, it's not something I expected. It's not something I expected to do. And when it sort of started going and people started watching and commenting, I was like, well, okay, this is something that I need to continue to do. I do enjoy it, and I really like helping people as well. Like people comment and ask questions, and sometimes I'll just sit there for like 10 minutes typing out an answer, which is basically a video in itself, just to help them out. Because once you get them basics down, Daisy is a relatively easy game. It's a simple game. There aren't that many things to learn. It just feels overwhelming at the very start, and if I can just help people get past that a little bit, then I've sort of done what I've set out to do.
You've just got such a great variety of videos here, mate. And I think you're you've got that fairly standard thumbnail style that doesn't really change much. So people can easily identify that it's one of your videos. And your titles are all quite catchy as well. The best Xbox servers you should be playing right now. That one did really well, because people are thirsty for information on this game.
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad those that video in particular did well because it took me about 200 hours to make. Um, those server videos take so long. I've been
Yeah.
making one now for 3 months. My next Xbox One, for 3 months, and it's only about 90% done. So I'm glad those videos go off. As for the thumbnails, I did try to stick to a simple brand, just something that people can look at and instantly go, this is a video I want to see, or a video I don't.
Yep. What's the stuff that you enjoy making content on the most?
Oh, probably like for example the how to not get lost, things like that, things where I've never seen a video like that be done before, so I like starting completely from scratch. Whereas if I do like a how to fire a gun, I know that there's probably a billion of those videos out there. So I like sort of taking something that just isn't done or isn't really explored and then putting it together the best that I can. So videos like that. And I've got another one coming out as well. And they're just ideas that I haven't really seen done or presented in a way that is really easy to grasp. So those I like that. I enjoy that, figuring all that out.
Comments like this one here make it worth it for you too, don't they? hey man, your videos are awesome. Couldn't get into DayZ about 6 months ago, but your videos are awesome and have made the last couple of days getting back into it some of the most rewarding I've felt playing a game in a long time. You're straight to the point. Never say anything useless. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, that is See, I never know how to respond to them because there's no response that I could give that would match how cool that comment is. It's very humbling when somebody
Honestly,
takes the time out.
the best thing you can say is it's comments like this that make it all worth it. Is what I think you should use as a fairly stock standard response, because when you do make content, you get people just who, obviously their mummy never loved them properly or whatever, and they've got issues and they take it out on everything in the world. And they'll just come in and they'll say something, and it still hurts you. But when you get these nice little comments like that one, that train, track, road, and power line tips were fire. That was so helpful. It's just it really does keep you. Yeah, obviously the little bit of money you get from YouTube is great, but for most of us, you start this as a hobby, and it's these comments that mean more to you than any money you'll ever make.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I You are right. There's quite a difference between those comments and the comments of people having a bad day. I get quite a few of them as well, but I'd say 99% of the comments I get are positive comments. I don't actually mind the negative comments as long as it's not abusive to other people on the channel. If they don't like me, if they want to say something negative about me, if they want to give me a criticism or critique or anything like that, I'm completely fine with that. I don't really get offended. My sense of humor, I cannot get offended by what other people say. It just doesn't work. So I'm quite open to the negative comments as well, as long as it's not attacking or abusing anybody else on the channel.
Yeah. Exactly. You've got to be able to take the good with the bad. I think one of the other things that helps you as well is you remind me a bit of a good mate of mine, Archie Stormcloud. And he injects his own personal style of humor into his as well, which I've seen you do in a few of the videos of yours that I've watched as well, which I absolutely love. It's great to get information, but if you can add a bit of a personal touch to it, and a bit of a chuckle, bit of a laugh. I still think my favourite that I've seen so far was the one about the PvE players, which was just, I think I shared that one on Twitter as well because it was so funny. It had me in stitches. I won't ruin it for you folks, but I think it was why you need to play a hardcore server. I can't see it here. 7 reasons hardcore servers are the best servers in DayZ. And you put in a bit of a burn about PvE players, the ones with no KOS.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many videos I can't remember the specific moment, but I think I'm aware of the part you're on about. I mean, but that is the thing. I've always the one thing I don't like, especially with DayZ, is gatekeeping. So I've always said, if you enjoy PvE only, then absolutely play it that way. It's your game, it's your time. Do what you want to do, regardless of what anybody says. If you want first person, if you want third person. See, I'm a first person only player.
Same.
But when I make videos, I always put it in third person because I think it's aesthetically more pleasing.
Yeah.
But when people play in third person, there seems to be like a little bit of a battle between them, because you do get purists who just think the game should be constantly first person, and I can understand that from I mean, that is how I enjoy to play it. But again, at the same time, it's like if somebody else wants to play it that way, let them play it that way. Gatekeeping for me is just a big no.
But you can still have a laugh. You can still have a laugh. G'day Nixus, g'day Mackay, g'day LM, g'day King of Loba. I'm a firm believer in you can take the piss out of anything, but it's just a joke, because as 100%, that the beauty of DayZ is there is no right or wrong way to play except for my way. That's the only right way to play, but that's my perspective. Everyone else, their right way to play is the way that they like to play. I personally think you should mix it up. I predominantly I'm like you. I prefer hardcore first-person servers where it's a bit of a grind just to find enough to stay alive. But that doesn't mean that's the only way to play. Like I'm in a bit of a good old bit of a Twitter war at the moment with a bunch of folks talking about PvP in DayZ, and they're saying that vanilla DayZ should change, and I don't think it should. There's a few refinements that could come to PvP, but for the most part, I think it's pretty good. One of the things I love about DayZ is that a pleb like me, in the right circumstances, with a bit of luck, maybe a bit of tactics, can put a PvP god, the equivalent of a Toprek, on their ass. It's probably only going to happen 1 in a million times, but that one time, my fucking god, I'm going to be screaming and shouting the fucking roof down. I'm going to lose the other, 999,999 times, but there is a potential because the weapons are made that way. Their argument is that it's bullshit that a Mosin can one-shot knock a player with a plate carrier on. I don't think that's bad of a thing. DayZ's a hardcore game. It's not meant to be an arcadey sort of game. If you overextend, if you play like a run and gun, the Q&E wobbles and all the rest of that sort of stuff, there's a chance you're going to get put in your ass by someone, and that person could be a potato. But that's one of the beautiful things I like about DayZ. Does that mean their style of playing is wrong? No. You play how you want to. You play on the server that you enjoy. But yeah, we're still going to make a bit of fun and take the piss out of each other. And we've been doing that on Twitter, having a good laugh and bagging each other out. They bag me out for being an autistic survivalist. I bag them out for being wannabe COD kill montage people.
Yeah, well, that is the thing with it. It's a balanced game. Everything about DayZ is balance, and yeah, I think the combat right now. There are certain things I would change.
For sure.
Just little adjustments I'd make, but I wouldn't nerf any guns at the moment. And the Mosin as well, as you say, it's a very humbling gun. You can be at the top of your game in DayZ and somebody can just come and snatch everything from you with a single bullet. Yeah. And that is some of the fun.
And honestly, the Mosin is probably the most iconic DayZ weapon.
Yeah.
And I know it's a fairly common weapon on most vanilla servers, but it's just got such a legacy that I think it deserves its place as it's a weapon to be feared, because they kind of say that it's a bit of an easy weapon to use. I don't think it's easy. It takes a bit of skill. A lot of these guys, they're full-time content creators. They've got thousands of hours of experience in this game. I think they forget that not a lot of people do. And DayZ's a fairly, as you said, once you get to know the basics, it's a pretty easy game to an extent. I wouldn't say it's incredibly easy, but once you know the basics, it becomes a lot easier. And then it really comes down to how good you could PvP. But the Mosin is just such an iconic weapon that I would hate to see that thing ever removed from being able to one-shot someone, to knock them, even with a plate carrier on. I know it's the best armor in the game, but yeah, what do you think about that?
I completely agree. I did a guide on sniping, and I think that was like one of the guns I recommended. I said you can find it on the coast, and if you're looking to do a sniping playthrough, then you can grab the gun and you can just go like a whole life. It's very easy to find, and I do think it's not a gun that you can't be very quick with it. There's still balance to it because you still have to reload it and sort everything out. So I don't think it's overpowered. And as you say, once you have some hours in the game and once you're used to PvP, you can become a lot quicker with the guns. But your average new player probably isn't going to be able to pull off the kind of shots people think the gun is going to be capable of. But I do thoroughly enjoy using the Mosin at the same time. It's one of the first guns I played, and it was one of the played with, and it was one of the first guns I think I got good with. The rest of them were hit and miss, but that was the gun that as soon as you put a scope on it from however many miles away, because you're also limited in scopes as well.
Yeah.
Like you have the hunter scope and so on, but you are quite limited with what you can do. And also, I think the only silencer you can put on it is an improvised silencer, so that only gives you 2 shots. So it's not like an overpowered gun. It doesn't do everything. It just excels in that particular area of taking people out with armor. But then at the same time, don't be seen. If you're geared, you should be a better player. You need to not be seen by other people. That's sort of how I view it.
I knew I was going to get along with you, mate, because that's pretty much been my whole argument. And they actually took the piss out of me because I said you shouldn't be relying on armor to save you. Armor is the last resort. You should be relying on tactics and not putting yourself in a position where you can be potentially one shot by someone. Yes, yeah, you might be caught at a well or something like that, but that's DayZ. DayZ's a brutal, unforgiving game. And it's built on the engine of a brutal, unforgiving game, Arma. My first experience with Arma was on the Xbox with, admittedly, it wasn't a Bohemia game, but it was the Codemasters, I think it was, Operation Flashpoint, which was still made with the same principles. And I got dropped so many times in that game, and it took me by surprise. I'm ex-military, so I've got a pretty good understanding of tactics, but I'd become lazy because I was used to playing Call of Duty, Medal of Honor, those sort of games where you can tank, half a mag and just end up red flashing and just, wait until you heal back. But these games don't allow you to do that. Once you're damaged, you're damaged. And it's going to take a while, and it stunned me, and it's kind of what addicted me to it. And it doesn't sit right with me to gamify a game that has become so successful based on being unforgiving.
Yeah. No, I mean, I completely agree. And as you say, there are tactics, and it's not just the high end part of it where you get to PvP people and everything else, but it's also the slower points that I think make the game as good as it is. That was what attracted me to it. It was the fact that there's so much PvP going on, and you've got to explore, and there's the infected outside and everything else. And here's me just sat in a house with a fire on, trying to get warm and trying to make some food.
Yeah.
And for me, that is the best moment I can have in DayZ. It's that calm moment where I'm just there, I'm just trying to survive, and then I'm going to go on an adventure, have the adventure, and then I'm back to that little house just trying to stay warm. That is for me.
Quick question. Do you know Scale Speeder Gaming?
Nope.
You should check out his YouTube channel. I think you would quite enjoy it as well. He does a lot of more in-depth guides to DayZ. How to install certain mods, and he does mod reviews and things like that. But yeah, he's got quite a decent following, and he's from your neck of the woods as well. Another Whinge and Bloody Pom.
When you mention the videos, yeah, I think I'm aware. I think I used one of the videos way back when to create a local server. Very, very, very useful content. Like, extremely, because that is a side that is not my strong side. So for something like that, to have someone like that who just goes into it in depth is completely just beyond useful.
This is probably one of my favorite videos.
In this video, we're going to be trying something that I've never seen before.
Right. Yeah, that yeah, see, it's sort of a fantastic. See, I'm looking at the screen. There's a bit of a delay, so I don't know if.
Yep. Eating a Greg's sausage roll and their bacon and cheese turnover together. What is it with these Greg's sausage rolls? Are they that good?
They are pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah, like I don't want to I don't want to be that guy, but yeah, no, they are pretty good, and it's really annoying as well because people will always go, "Oh, try this new one they've got," and you try it and it's good, and they go, "Oh, it's good, isn't it?" They sort of want praise for it, and you're like, "Oh God." So then you've got to praise them. Plus, you're enjoying it, which now is just it's bitterness that you have towards it's yeah, it's a whole thing.
Would you ever do this yourself? Would you ever eat a Greg's sausage roll and a ham and cheese turnover or bacon and cheese turnover together?
We've got quite a lot of sausage
Or is he
roll,
just a crazy
Not
man?
that much bacon and cheese turnover.
I don't think I'm that adventurous as a person. No.
He loves to take the piss out of me, so I'm doing a bit of a piss take on him at the moment. He's a really nice guy. I get along with Scale Speeder very well. But yeah, I've been waiting for a moment where I could take the piss out of him for that video. He has all these great technical guides, and then he uploads a video reviewing a sausage roll and a fucking bacon and cheese turnover. I just love the unpredictability.
Yeah, no, it is good. Like I say, very very useful video though. I've actually went back to the local server one a few times because as I say, I am terrible, but he breaks it down really well. He's got like for anybody, that is the closest you're gonna get for single player if somebody wants to try it. And I wanted to try it out to see what it was like. And for anybody who wants that, that is a great way to do it. Just set up a local server. It's got all the information there. He gives you links on where to download certain things to make like batch files and put that in. Very very well done video, and it's one that I have visited a few times just to try out certain things in the past. I don't actually have a local server now, but I probably should set one up. It would make my life so much easier because a lot of my content requirement is usually quite organic.
Yep.
So it can take a lot longer to make the video than it might take most of the people because they're not morons.
One second, adjusting the volume a little bit. There we go. So, are you ever going to start streaming again?
Yes, when I have the time. I said to you before this started, right now I'm working 12-hour days, and then when I'm not working, I'm on call.
Yep.
So I can get into DayZ, and I can be on DayZ for 10 minutes, I can be on DayZ for an hour, and I get a call, and I have to take that call. So it's a bit stressful, but as soon as my schedule is much better, yeah, I plan on streaming quite a lot, because I have to. I have no choice. That is my name. I picked the name, and I have to stick to it now. And people mention it all the time.
I kind of like the meme value of it, to be honest. And I love the reference you had to it. You know, yes, I know it's weird. I call myself Always Streams and I never stream, but I don't know. Don't rush it. If we do it when you're ready, but don't rush it. I think it's it's good for the meme value just on its own, as is.
Yeah, no, I mean you are right. I can't argue that point. And it's a question I guess so many times, like why are you called Always Streams? And like I said, my answer to it now is it's a noun and not an adverb. That's all I can say to that.
I like that. I like that. A nice literary high IQ joke there. Very well done. So what sort of servers do you generally play on yourself? Are there any go-to servers for you in your neck of the woods that you just think are the bee's knees, the duck's guts?
The duck's guts. They used to be, but now because I make these server videos, I don't really stick on one server. I'll put 20 hours into a server and then I'll move on to the next one.
Yep.
So there are not really any servers that I'm permanently on. I think APOC is a server I spend a lot of time on, but mostly if it's just me and I'm just making a video or something, I'll usually go on a hardcore server, whatever's hardcore. Because the vanilla, for me, there's too much loot on the vanilla. It is the hardcore servers. You can get some really good hardcore servers. So they're the ones I usually gravitate towards whenever I'm alone.
Yep. It's honestly my favorite, and I'm actually quite jealous of you guys. I know a lot of people are jealous of me because I've got Daisy Down Under, which is an amazing server, which they punch so much above their weight with some of the amazing mods that they've got that are unique. They've made them for their own servers, but you guys in the EU area, the UK, and even the US servers aren't that bad for you guys in the UK as well. Just the sheer variety of amazing servers in your neck of the woods. You're so spoiled.
Yeah, there is a lot, and I do hear that a lot as well. Which, yeah, it's frustrating when I have a server that I know somebody else would enjoy, and they try to connect to it, and sometimes they can't even find it.
Just had a question here from Lucas Michael in chat. What hardcore servers do y'all recommend? So the first thing I usually ask people, I don't know about you, always, but what should I call you? Just always?
Yeah, yeah. If you want.
Yeah.
My name is Chris.
So Chris.
Yes. My name is Chris, but I go by any. On the channel, people call me Chris. People call me Always. I'm fine with either.
Yep. So he's in North America. Sadly, there was an amazing server called New Dawn. A mate of mine, Dumpgrab, ran that one, which had some awesome mods. I'm not too familiar with. There's a little bit more we need to know. Like, are you wanting to be able to build bases, or probably some of the best servers in North America are obviously the day one servers, which I'm not quite sure what the loot table is like on those servers, but for pure vanilla, no base building, DayZ, day one is the biggest and the best, but it's also the most popular, and some of the queues on those servers. Have you ever tried to get onto them?
Always the same. Sometimes you could be waiting 30, 40 people.
Yeah. Which can take a long time, because part of the problem with day one, which is also part of what makes them great, is they're almost the go-to for the majority of the big name streamers. So once someone works out that maybe Lax or Amish or someone is playing on day one, then every man and his dog's trying to get on there because they all want to bump into them or stream snipe them, and it's just it's a dog's fight trying to get onto those servers, which is a shame because they're so well done. Smoke has made an amazing community there, but yeah, it's kind of they're almost cursed by their success, aren't they? Always.
Yeah, 100%. They are, and you see it all the time as well. And you see when people die, and it's suspicious, and you're like, even they're thinking, did I die because I was reckless, or did somebody just decide, well, you know what, I'm going to get this kill? I can see where they are. But the server though that I'd actually recommend, a hardcore server, is DayZ Underground.
Yeah.
Such a good server, sort of organic role play as well, but people on that server are crazy. Yeah. It is such a fun server. They'll take you hostage.
Yes, that's where I was going to go. The best part about DayZ Underground is you're more likely to find people inclined to interact than you will on most other servers. They've just created a really good culture. Did you know that they're actually the original first ever community server in DayZ?
I didn't know that. No.
That's how strong their legacy is.
While.
That's how strong. I've done a podcast where we had Dr. Big Money, I think his name was, and he was the one of the original founders of DayZ Underground. He's not associated with it anymore. He's moved on, because this is going back to 2014 or 2015 or something. 7 years ago. But yeah, Brian Hicks reached out to him and said, well, do you guys like to make the very first community server? And it exploded. You're saying it's dead now, Mackay. I know it does appear to be dead to some people because Part of with Daisy Underground is during the week. I don't know whether it's still the same. I haven't played it in a while myself. Maybe you can confirm always, but you have to apply to be whitelisted to be able to play most weekends, which is when a lot of people get on to carry out their storylines and for their organic role play. During the week, anyone can get on, but yeah, loads left. That's kind of sad. Have you heard that always?
Yeah, no, it has been. The numbers have definitely been dropping. Um, I think it's just because there's so much variety in servers now, and you don't like. I don't personally see many streamers going to Daisy Underground, whereas they do favor servers like Day One or Zero. Zero, especially, streamers seem to love. So it doesn't really get as much love right now. But I did include it in a server recommend video, and for a few weeks, it did go up quite a bit. Um, it's a shame because it can provide such a unique experience of Daisy, and it puts you with some really, really invested people, and I think that's the best kind of community. When people are invested, people are enjoying what they do, that's when you get some of the best results.
Yeah, I might look into that, Mackay. I might send me a message on Discord, mate. So I want to find out more about that because that's very, very sad. I would hate to see Daisy Underground of all servers disappear because its legacy is, you know, it's surprising to me that it used to be the go-to server back in the day. All the big names in Daisy were playing Daisy Underground. And to find that that's not the case anymore, that's kind of sad. So I might have to look into that. But yeah, what about any other good hardcore servers in your neck of the woods? I know there's Chernarus Has Fallen.
Yes, that's a good one. See, it's hard for me because I'm trying to remember which is on which platform because I play on all three platforms.
Oh wow!
Yeah, well, I make content for all three platforms. I make server videos for all three, so I'm putting hundreds of hours in each platform every month. So it's hard for me to think what's what's PC and what's console. Like I've got so many names in my head. But for example,
you will get along well with Scale Speeder then as well because he's a big proponent of console Daisy as well.
Yeah, I love Daisy on console. I took a break when from Daisy on PC for about 2 years, and then just strictly played console, and then came back to PC. So I do enjoy it, but yeah, there are so many names going around in the head, and I'm like, is this console or is it PC? So it's quite difficult.
What's your preferred platform and why?
PC, and you know why? Like, I don't. But the thing is, right, I will defend console. I love console. I was raised as a console player. I got my first PC when I was about 12. But like prior to that, I was strictly console. So I do love console, and even now I'm like 400 hours into Xenoblade Chronicles on the Switch. So there's so much for me on console, and Daisy itself, I think the actual vanilla Daisy is the same as PC. Apart from some performance, which I do think the next gen has somewhat sorted out on behalf of the developers, I do think it offers the same experience, but mods, Namalsk, this I can't knock Namalsk. Namalsk is one of the greatest things to ever come to Daisy, in my opinion.
Yes, I was absolutely blown away when Namalsk released, mate. It was it was like the game was reinvented.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just it added what everybody wanted because we'd had like snow mods and so on, and it was good, and we knew it worked. But yeah, Namalsk is just something special.
Just even the what do you call it? The temperature aspect of it was the frostbite. Again, you know, that brutal, unforgiving nature of Daisy it was just taken to a whole new level. And
Yeah, absolutely.
oh, God, it was so good.
Yeah, and it just like if you wanted a hardcore server, any Namalsk hardcore is a proper hardcore server. That is a game that you really need to work at. Slightly less difficult now they've invented now they've added rags so you can build clothing with rags. So it's less difficult than it was.
Yeah.
But it still offers a pretty decent challenge for people.
Yeah, if you can find that knife and cut up some rags, you can make the gloves and the face mask and stop getting frostbite almost instantly, which is a little disappointing. But yeah, a well-made community server can still just make some modifications and make that a bit more. Well, like definitely one thing with the 1.19 changes and the condition of a lot of items spawning in as damaged and badly damaged, that's going to keep people on their toes on the survival side, isn't it?
It will. That was something that was in the game years ago, and they sort of got rid of it. And I think they got rid of it accidentally. I don't actually think it was a purposefully done thing. I think something didn't work in the code because DayZ is just a battlefield of code. I've said it a few times before.
Yeah.
And I think they couldn't get it to work the way they wanted. So they sort of removed it and then they've re-added it. And which I agree with the Madner. I don't necessarily think it was that required. Like there are so many other things that I expected them to sort of do. That was a weird choice, I thought.
Yeah, they keep us on our toes, don't they? You're never quite sure what they're going to do next. But what are your thoughts on 1.19 so far?
Okay, so I want to preface this by saying I really like DayZ. I do. I love DayZ. I wasn't too impressed with 119. Now, I was impressed with it from it adds so much good content, and it's well needed content that needs to be in there. And you know, I think that it shows that they need to take much longer breaks and give us things like this, like the cars, for example, the Humvee. All this I'm very happy with, but it just feels like we've had an update that adds things that were either previously in the game or should have been in the game to begin with. Because Livonia isn't a free map. It's been out now for a couple of years. Not a free map. People have to pay for it. It hasn't been early access. That was a full map. And even now, it's still not to the standard of, say, Chernarus.
Look, I will give it to him. Sort of ties into what Adam Bomb said there about there only being one bunker and it's on Livonia. From a business aspect, and at my heart, I am a capitalist whore. I understand that businesses need to make money to survive. It was a very smart move of them to put that bunker on Livonia. Because I don't know if you remember when Livonia was released, the reaction from the community was very mixed, probably leaning towards almost angry at the basically using what some people termed as a recycled asset from the Armor Contact DLC, I think it was, and just porting it over to DayZ with a few changes and charging $20 or whatever it was for it. As a business move, incredibly smart.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, I actually included that in a video about the controversies of the DayZ team, and I remember when they released it, and people were not happy at all.
Yeah.
And again, I understand that because to me, Livonia has always been an incomplete map. Like a lot of people love the map because it has so many survival aspects. You know, you go out and you're in the wilderness.
Yep.
I don't think that was the developer's intention. I think that's just people adapting to the fact that there's not really a lot there.
Yeah.
It's either you live off the land or you don't live. They are your two options, especially if you go south.
Have you played the Armor Contact DLC?
No, not specifically. I'm aware of it. I've seen it played, but I haven't personally got
see, neither have I, so I'm unsure of what the storyline was and why the south of the map is so barren But I do think they've made some decent changes. They haven't gone crazy and, turned the bottom of the map into a massive city or anything like that. Because I am one of those people who loves Livonia just the way it is. But it did need some areas of interest down south to get people moving around the map, because that's the one thing that DayZ has struggled a bit with. It never used to, because there was those weird little quirky locations where certain things used to spawn, and if you wanted to get a VSS, you'd head up to Novaya Petrovka, the barn there, and if you wanted a FAL, you'd head down to Pavlovo Military, because there was that shed that it would quite often spawn in, and Skalisty Island was great for finding a sniper, and if you wanted a pistol and a pistol suppressor, you headed to Belota. But now there's not really any areas of the map that are so well known for certain items. So you're relying on points of interest to get people to want to go to those various locations, and things like the bunker are a great focal point, because it basically encourages people to head down there, and it's not something you have to do. You're not being forced to do it. It's your choice to go there, so it gets people moving around. And if you want action, go hang around the bunker.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because it's like everybody heads towards Tizzy now and towards the airport and everything on Chernarus, so having that place will definitely help people. But there's still some things I'd like to see on Livonia personally. I think it has a lot of potential, and I'm glad they've added all the things they've added, and I think they've done a lot, and props to them for everything that they have done. But at the same time, a part of me is still like, well, people paid for a full map, and they're only really updating the map now. So it's sort of a bitter, it's a bitter well done. I do like all the new thing. I was in the bunker the other day when it came out.
No spoilers.
Okay, but I was there, and I enjoyed I enjoyed the new map. The new assets and everything else. But yeah, I do think there's still a bit of a way to go personally.
Yep. Yeah, definitely, and even Chernarus, I'm looking forward to. My hope is, now that they've added an underground area to the map, that maybe we might see some come to Chernarus. I think Tizzy is ripe for it. I think the Northwest Airfield is ripe for it. I'd love to see a sewer system underneath Cherno, or maybe Electro. Even I think Novo up in the northeast there would be quite interesting because of the landscape of the map. You could have tunnels with stairs and all sorts of things, and get into the sewers and pop up on the other side of town. And there's DayZ is just like Brendan, my mate Sinbad, said. This game is how old? What game for $30 has given so much for so long? It's not quite $30 anymore, but I've got it back in the early access back in 2014 or 13 or whatever it was, and I don't think I paid more than about $30 for it. And I've had over 10,000 hours of love of this game. There's not many games like that, is there? Always?
No, there's not. Like there are games you can sink so many hours into, but I think the reason it's good is because it's quite a basic game. There's not really a lot to it. They sort of give you the tools, and then you go and do whatever you want to do.
Yep.
They give you the tools to explore. Everything is there, and then it's you who makes the story yourself. And I think that is one of the core reasons people enjoy DayZ so much, and it's certainly why I enjoy it. There's no hand holding, there's no scripted events. But that is something I will mention though, and that I really like about the DLC is they've worked on dynamic events. I think that is the way forward.
Yes,
like, that is such a really good investment.
I'm really glad you brought that up. What else could you see them adding?
Oh wow. Well, I suppose there's sort of a lot of potential for like some law events. So certain like contaminated, like small contaminated zones and things like that, where you can go and get some special loot. Um, if there's just so much. Dynamic events are the way forward, in my opinion, because it allows us to have the freedom we have while also adding new content to the game.
I'm trying to find something, and if I can find. I can find the tweet. I want to keep it.
Mhm.
Okay, that's in German. That's not it. But it was from Brian Hicks. Okay, let me. Holy crap! I just realised Brian Hicks is at Hinterland Games, which is the company that makes The Long Dark. That makes me happy. That makes me smile.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Have you played The Long Dark?
Yes, put quite a few hours into that.
Oh, beautiful game, isn't it?
Absolutely, from start to finish, and they just kept adding things to it. Such a good game. I do like survival games. They're sort of the things I mainly go towards.
Yep. What's your thoughts on Scum?
I really like Scum. I think I think it's a passion project for the developers. They keep adding things. They even added the actor. I forgot his name. I think he's
Danny Trejo.
Mexican.
Danny Trejo.
Yes, they added him, which they didn't need to do, but they still did. And I just think that was brilliant. He comes with like a sword or a machete, and I do think, and they keep updating consistently as well. So I have a lot of time for Scum. I actually watch a streamer called Wilksy75.
Yep.
And that's where I sort of go for my Scum fix.
I follow quite a few of them for Scum. I'm quite fascinated, and like Lucas says there, DayZ needs to steal so many features from The Long Dark. DayZ needs to keep a close eye on some of the stuff that Scum is doing. Like the crafting in Scum is one of the things I love the most, mate. It is just absolutely phenomenal. It just adds so much to the game. Just you can craft weapons, you can craft even the base building side of it. Like, do you do much in the way of base building in DayZ?
Yes, whenever I'm on a server for more than like 15 hours, I'll usually set up a base. I usually avoid the more vanilla bases because there's no point in having them. But yeah, if I'm on like a vanilla server with no base destruction adjusted, then I'll usually just make a stash.
There's a lot of people who think that base building ruins DayZ. What's your thoughts on that?
I disagree with that. I think it's good, but it needs a lot of work. Again, it's one of those areas where I think like I know they've said that they're not really focusing on that, but I do think they should add more base building aspects. I think right now base building, like vanilla style anyway, it's too simple and there's not really much point in it a lot of the time. So I can see why people don't like it, but I think if you could do it properly, I think there'd be a bigger argument for it being done.
For the life of me, I can't find this tweet. So back to the dynamic event. Basically, Brian Hicks shared a image. Now, I'm not sure if it was something someone else had made, and because he does like to share stuff, but this was back when he was at DayZ. And it was basically a dynamic event that happens in cities where a structure there, and we've seen it done in some of the mods. Where I think it's the Survivor Missions mod, where you'll get a call that a mission comes over the radio. It just comes as a message in chat, basically saying that you need to go and to this certain building and get in there and get something and bring it back. What his idea was, a structure that was fortified and has become overrun with infected. So you've got to break into it. Potentially, and kill the infected in there to be able to get whatever loot's inside it. And it's something that you'll find all around the map at any time, or it could be anywhere on the map. You'll never know where. You'll just be spawning in, and then you see that there's a bunch of infected outside a building. You're like, holy crap, that's that dynamic event. Things like that. I'm 100% with you. Dynamic events, there needs to be more of them.
Yeah, definitely, and that sounds really good. That is one of those things that you can get like a squad, really team up, or even team up with somebody else just randomly that you encounter and be like, do you want to go take that building? I can't do it alone. It would be good to have some backup, and then you have to deal with the whole, am I going to be betrayed or anything like that? Yeah, dynamic events, like that is one thing that I absolutely love that they focused on in the new update. That is some, again, gotta give them props. They exceeded my expectations, but again, there are certain things that I would like them to sort of iron out a little bit more. But for example, I was driving the Hummer, and I think I had a moment where if it was on the other engine, I would have been skyrocketed into the sky. I included it in the video I'm going to put out as like a little clip, and it's just everything just like slows down, it tilts, but it stays on the floor. And you're sort of driving around, you sort of have PTSD now from the old cars, and you just expect at any moment to be an astronaut. And it happened then. I was like, uh-oh. And then it didn't fly, and it was like, wow, okay, this is good. Like this is definitely something that everybody needed and everybody wanted, because it's made the cars worthwhile now.
I've never really had that many issues with the cars on DayZ. Maybe it's because of the sort of servers I play, but I've never really had that many issues. Yeah, I've had them. Probably the main one I get is when they just start bouncing a bit, but I think maybe I've just worked out how to not have them end up bouncing into the sky. But I can't remember the last time I got catapulted to the moon.
Yeah, mine was about 2 weeks ago. I entered the car, and it was over. I had a friend, and like I as soon as I entered, I was dead. That was it. Screaming off, "You are dead!" I heard it hit the floor. I was gone. And when I ran back to the thing, and I was like, "But where's the car?" He was like, "I don't know, somewhere in the south."
Have you seen the bug where you can go beneath the map and you start hearing all the noises?
Yeah, I'm aware of it. I haven't actually experienced it.
I'll show you it. Give me one moment.
Okay. I know they said they fixed the under the map bug as well. People falling into the water. The terrain bug, which is good.
Okay, make sure you've got your audio on, because that's a big part of this. Yep, we are good to go. Let's go to the right screen. This is a new one for you, isn't it?
Was that wow. Yeah.
What do you think of that?
That is like every noise in the game all at once. That is very unsettling.
That's not a
Yeah.
no, Steve. I've had this bug, and it's not one that's come because of the new engine. I actually had this, I think, about 4 weeks ago. I'm not sure if I was streaming or not, but I think I was in a truck, and I had a passenger with me, and the passenger didn't go under the map. A wolf turned up at that time, but the screen just went black, and I think we were even driving on a road, so it wasn't even the same sort of situation. And I didn't get all the zombie noises, but I could hear animals everywhere, and it was every animal. So it caught me by surprise as well. I was like, I've got no idea what is going on. This is quite bizarre. But yeah, I can confirm 100% that is genuine. I don't think I was streaming, otherwise I would have shared it with the dev team. But when I saw this, I was like, okay, I can now show everyone, because I was trying to describe it to them what it was like. But yeah, I had all the HUD of the vehicle. I couldn't get in or out of the vehicle. I couldn't turn the vehicle off. I was just stuck there, and I just had to log out. And when I logged back in, I was on top of the truck, and my mate Moonshine had killed a wolf. There was one wolf turned up at that time, so it was fucking bizarre.
Oh yeah, no, that is something that would make a child cry. That's just not what you expect.
It's definitely one of the more interesting bugs. Sorry, we don't. You guys can get up me. We don't call them bugs here. Always, we call them unintended game features.
Yeah, sub-dynamic events.
But look, how long have you been playing DayZ? When did you first start playing it?
I played it as a mod on Arma.
Wow. So you do have a strong legacy in the game.
Yeah. Well, to be completely honest, I wasn't a huge fan of Arma at the time.
Yep.
I'm more of a fan now, but when it first came out, I had friends, they were like, get this, it's like COD, but, better, and I was like, well, I'm not really a fan of COD. They're like, no, just try it. So I tried it, I enjoyed it, I put a few hours into it, and then never touched it, and then it must have been a few months later again, and they were like, look, check this part out now, and then that was like, wow, okay, I like this, and then I went to standalone, and then DayZ as we know it.
Yeah. What's better, the mod or DayZ standalone, and why?
Oh, God damn it! That's like picking your favorite child. Which one's gonna make me more money?
Oh man, that's another thing I like about you. You're a capitalist whore as well.
I appreciate both for different reasons. I do love the original. I love the mod. The mod was so simple, and it sort of, from a purist point of view, that probably offers a little bit more. But I do think DayZ now has evolved way past then, and I think I would miss what is now currently in DayZ compared to the mod. Although I do miss the HUD from the mod, because it was just so 2013. So I do miss that.
I think they're both good. DayZ standalone has evolved so far past what Arma 2 DayZ mod could do, but I understand why for some people it's the best. I still look back at Nintendo GoldenEye 64 with fond memories as well. But I know if I was to go back and play it, I'd be like, oh my God, this is so fucking clunky compared to what games are like these days. But yeah, you do look back and, there's certain elements where people are right that it was better. because it was new. It was the hype around it. It was I think Dean used to call it the anti-game, because it's pretty much nothing else was really like it, bar maybe Minecraft to an extent, but it was just a game where you just do whatever you want. At least in Minecraft, you've kind of got a goal. You've got to build that structure ASAP to get safe for that first night, or otherwise you're dead. With DayZ, it's kind of like, well, what do I do now? Get some food and find a well and drink and then kill people if you want. Otherwise, you can do crazy shit. Go and become a farmer or rob people or be a cannibal or. It's such a blank canvas. That's the beauty of DayZ for me.
Yeah, because I get like the number one question, especially on the tutorial videos, is I'm thinking about getting this game, but what do you actually do? I don't have an answer for that question. There is no answer. What do you do? You play DayZ. That's what you do. It's just such a big question. There's not really one answer to. So I always struggle to answer. I'm just like, you just try. Just try. You'll see what you do. If you get it, you'll experience it. For better or for worse, you will experience the game.
Yeah, I just say to people, go and find inspiration, mix it up. If you only ever play one play style, you'll get bored eventually. Don't be afraid to, one of the best examples I've seen recently was Minder, who I don't know whether he's still stuck with it, but he said, I'm going to stop KOSing. And he always tries to interact, or he was always trying to interact for a while. The Running Man will do little challenges when he's streaming. I can only survive off of what I get off of Infected, bar a few other items that you can't get on Infected, and mix it up. Try stuff outside of your comfort zone. If you only ever play high loot servers, try a hardcore server. If you only ever play hardcore servers, try a high loot server. I've played high loot servers and I've enjoyed them. My mate Fubar Bundy had one, Scuffed, and I had a blast on it the time I played on it. I ended up adopting all the Americans on the server. We had a big base in Vybor, right near the Northwest Airfield, and we had a fucking ball of a time. Whereas most people who know me, they know that I prefer hardcore, fucking grinding, struggling to survive servers. Yeah.
Well, that is a thing as well. The killing on site. I don't kill on site. Like, okay, it happens, but very very rarely do I kill on site. I need a reason usually.
Yeah.
So it will lead to a lot of the times where I approach somebody and they shoot me. Whereas
I dodge so much to that.
Yeah. Whereas I do get sort of so many good interactions with people that I don't mind taking the risk, and I can be fully geared and somebody could come and shoot me and I'll just start again. I don't care. Sometimes I'll just exactly. I've got to that state. When I first started, it was a big thing for a couple of years, to be fair. It was a big thing. But once you sort of start to appreciate DayZ, you understand that it really is the journey rather than getting there, because it can be quite dull sometimes if you have all the loot you want. It's like then you have to start looking for PvP or building a base or doing something. But getting from that point to the gear you want, that for me is the best part of DayZ.
Exactly, mate. It's just there's so much to anything you want to do. You can pretty much do it in this game, and PC especially has really allowed that to change. Scale Speeder, he's had a few videos out recently talk about DayZ Dog. That mod is absolutely fucking brilliant. I love that mod. But I'm so scared of basically adopting a dog, because I did have one on the server I've been playing recently, and it died, and I was fucking devastated. I was devastated when it died, because I'm a dog person. I love dogs, and when it died on me, I was so sad, mate.
Yeah. No, I can see that. I'm a dog person as well. I've got several dogs.
Yeah.
So I completely understand. Like, like it is a good it is a good addition. I do think they could maybe make them immortal and then live forever, and then if they do die, they go to like a digital heaven, and we can visit them. Things like that. I think that would be that's the next step for the mod, in my opinion.
That would be that would be pretty cool. Because even if you, I ran up to its little body and I was like, "Are you going to let me try and even revive him? No, you cruel bastard. That's fucking terrible."
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can understand that. But it's part of the game, I suppose. But that's not really a part you sign up for.
No. What do they say in Hollywood? It's like the curse: you never kill the dog, and that's why it was such a big thing when they did it in John Wick.
Yeah, like they killed him, so they killed his dog, so he killed them back. It's like, yeah, that is. I think every dog owner relates to that. Like if someone did that to an animal, also, yeah, I think people understand, and I think DayZ lets you sort of recreate that because you could seek revenge and go on a rampage.
Yeah, definitely. What would you like to see added to DayZ in the vanilla version of the game? What do you think it needs the most?
Code locks, vanilla, proper code locks. That is that's the only real mod that I miss when I play on console. I think code locks they need to bring that in. Um, just general stability upgrades. There's not really a lot there that I think is missing as much as like other games. I would like a few more guns, to be fair. I'd
Mhm.
like I'd like it to be more difficult to get certain guns. Um, I just feel as though right now it's not that once you learn where you're probably gonna get a good gun, it's not that difficult to go and get a good gun. So I think it would be nice if they made that a little bit more difficult.
I don't know
Um,
if I agree with you on code locks. The server that I play on here in Australia, the Daisy Down Under family of servers, they've got a really interesting mod for their server. And it's basically the combination locks that exist in the game as is. They've got it set so that it remembers the code, but you still have to stand there and be stationary and hold the mouse button while it turns however many digits are on that combination lock. They've added up to a 5-digit combination lock as well, so it's not an easy thing to break into. The 3-digit ones are quite easy, as we all know. You can spend an hour usually, and you'll crack them, if probably even less than an hour in most cases. But the one issue I have with code locks is, particularly on like a no stamina server, old mate just sprints in there, taps the door opens, he runs in, and as he runs in, he closes the door behind him, making it very difficult for someone who's been patient enough to door camp them to actually get them. So the thing I love with this mod is it removes that having to alt tab out to your Discord channel and check what the code is and enter that code, which that is more realistic. But this is a nice midway point, I feel, where it uses the existing assets in the game, but has improved them to make them a bit more user friendly. What do you think of that idea?
No, I can see that. My main concern was security when you're not there rather than getting into it. But I can and have had that done to me where I've sort of camped out a place and someone just ran in really quickly. They get in, they close the door, and you can't get a shot off. So I do think, yeah, there's a lot to be said for that, and making people sort of wait to get into their base. But it's just for security because right now the vanilla doesn't offer anything in terms of security or
Yep.
you can go through a code lock in 20 some odd minutes. Like you can just sit there and go through it really quickly. It's not that difficult to do. So I think just in terms of security, when you're not there, it's good. But yet, no, I also agree. It would be nice if it took a little bit longer for people to get in. So you need to make sure
Yeah.
that nobody is camping you out, and it is a risk every time you go in and go out.
Yep. Yeah, I like that idea. It's such a lot of work goes into making a base, especially on your more hardcore servers. And in most cases, just for sometimes someone will actually break server rules and glitch, or 6 grenades, which on some servers isn't that hard to find, and you're through a vanilla door. It's yeah. I would love to see them improve base building. I'd love to see them add methods like Dumpgra's barricades mod, where you can lock down existing structures with doors and barricade the windows and things like that. Because that'd be more what people try to do rather than building a standalone structure. But diversity, let people do whatever they want to do, fortify an existing structure or build something standalone. But at the moment, especially on vanilla where you can't stack walls, one person finds a truck or they build a watchtower and they can just jump straight into your base and then destroy it all.
Yeah, I do like the barricade mod, adding the planks to the windows, and I have a lot of time for that mod. That would again be nice, as you say, just adding to existing structures, because I think it would be nice because you can do it anyway. Like you can build a wall and block off a place. This just makes it look a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely does.
Yeah, that's all. Because you, like I say, you can add a wall to wherever you need the wall to be. But yeah, just being able to do that and just make it look like somebody's base with boards up on the windows and maybe some camouflage and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
And also,
sorry, go for
I call combat logging. Combat logging, I'd make it so if somebody was in a certain amount of distance, you weren't able to log out.
Like, what would be the penalty if they did?
I mean that's a good question. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it can see it couldn't kill you because sometimes people lose connections.
Yeah.
I think it should just stop them from doing it and make it more inconvenient, so the person has to turn off their system or something to exit like that. Because there have been so many times I came across a combat logger the other day, and went into like the little sheds by the houses, and he went in, and I knew he was in there, and I camped him, and he stayed in there, and I eventually opened the door, realized he'd gone, so I blocked it with a wall, built a wall, and blocked the place in.
Yep.
So when he logged back in,
he basically had to F11.
Yeah,
I like that.
So that's I actually have a clip of it somewhere as well. I was going to include it in a video. It's from months ago, but yeah, combat logging for me is a big issue, and I think because people do get afraid to lose gear, which I understand. It takes them a long time. They see somebody coming, they're like, I don't want to lose all this stuff. I'm going to have to hide, but then you should hide. That should be the response to that. If you don't want to fight, you should hide, sneak, or do a multitude of things. I think combat logging it's not really something I agree with.
I'm not a fan of it either, mate. It's quite a scummy thing to do, and yeah, just I don't like it. It really rubs me the wrong way when people do it in the game. It's obviously there are times where you have to, but I lean more towards, sorry, dude, you've just got to bite the bullet and cop the L on this one. Just you need to let those guys kill you. It's a scummy thing to do to combat log. And it also kind of ruins what was potentially a great interaction for people.
Yeah, 100%. Because that is one of the biggest things of DayZ is the interaction, and it's meeting somebody 100%. Not really knowing their intentions. And lots of people do kill on sight, but then lots of people kill on sight, but everybody complains about people who just kill on sight. So, like, somebody is killing on sight. I notice when they have like a new update, like now, for example, 119 is sort of everywhere. So when this properly drops, I notice kill on sites go up quite a lot. Like whenever they have a new update, you get players who aren't like casual players who sort of come in, they join for the update to see what's new, and that's when you start getting a lot of
yeah,
a lot of kill on sites.
yeah, definitely. I don't think KOS ruins the game. I hate it. I hate being KOS. I always feel like it was a loss of a potentially a great interaction. But I don't hate it. I think it's an important part of DayZ.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I think it's when you have it done, especially because when I did that sniper video,
Yep.
I collected all those guns. Now that took a while. That wasn't like modern or anything. That was me collecting guns for hours, storing them in a base, and then taking them to a place not far from the base to sort of make the video. Because that's usually what I do. I set out certain tasks when I'm playing. I'm like, well, I know I'm going to make a video about this, so I'll get these items and I'll put them there, and then when I need them, I'll just sort of stack them out. But it took me about 5 hours to find the VSD. I looked everywhere for it, could not find it. Finally found one, and within 2 minutes of finding it, one shot, killed, lost it. And I just lost it. I was so happy. I was like, I just need to get around this corner to my base, put it in there, and then I can go get the VSS, and which was the other gun that I was missing. And somebody shot me within like 2 minutes of getting it.
Yeah.
I was just out. It was like, wow.
Did you rage?
Like,
did you rage quit?
No, I'm I'm quite laid back, but I just as soon as it said you are dead, I looked at that screen for about 5 minutes. I was like, no way. Good on them. They seized that opportunity. I hope I hope somebody, yeah, they seized that opportunity.
I got I got killed the other day on my stream, and oh my god, mate, I was so salty, so fucking salty. Oh, they KOS'd me. I lost a vehicle, I lost a bunch of nails, and it broke my heart, mate. It broke my heart.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, it's part of the game, I suppose. But you know, if like they do offer no kill on site servers, and
but it's not the same.
At least
you've got to have that fear of dying at any second.
Yeah, absolutely, because it makes things so much more interesting, and you also meet some really cool people there. And eventually, once you've been in your first gunfight with them, you sort of form a little bit of a bond.
Yep.
And that's when you really know, okay, this person didn't shoot me in the back. But then at the same time, and again, I have a clip of this I'm going to include in a future video. I met a guy in a ghillie suit and overheard him. I don't know what if he pressed the wrong button, but he was having a full conversation. We decided to team up for a little while, and he was having a full conversation with somebody else, telling them his position and explaining what kind of gear I had.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I sort of I ended up shooting him when his friend turned up. I actually included me shooting the guy in a clip. We both drew it like around the similar time. Once I heard his friend's footsteps, but that was a close one, a very close one.
He screwed up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I would not have seen that coming, because he was just such a genuinely nice guy. He offered me food. He was like, listen, I've got this spare gun if you want this gun. I was like, yeah. He was like, what have you got? And then I realized when he was offering me these guns, he was just trying to fish what I had.
Yep.
to tell his friend. So I messed up there. That was my bad.
Well, you didn't die though.
No, and I killed his friend as well. So it was his friend weren't really armored though, and he was shouting friendly, friendly, but I knew he came straight across, like down the street, missed every building, but came into the one we were in after his friend was down.
He still got wrecked though, didn't he?
Yeah, just luck on my part though. I did die aloud as well.
No, that's awareness, mate. Don't sell yourself short. That's being aware and staying tuned to what's going on. You did well. You did well.
I'm glad, but I mean, I suppose him sort of outlining his plan was a pretty good indication.
I bet you he's not going to make that mistake again anytime in a hurry.
No, definitely not.
Did you get to hit? Did you do it with style, or did you just take the chance when you had it?
I took, as soon as I heard the footsteps, I was going to play it out because I wanted to make a video of it. But as soon as I heard footsteps, I saw his friend coming. I turned to face him, and it just so happened that when I pointed the gun at him, he pointed one at me as well. So he fired at me, and I fired at him, but I ended up hitting the shot.
Yep.
So it was luck. In regards to him just pressing the wrong button, because I would never have seen that coming.
But it's the little things like that. Yeah, one of the things I say to people is, when it comes to KOS is a perfectly legit way to play, but barring those exceptional, like maybe a 500-meter snipe, or you squad wipe 6 blokes and you're on your own and you only had a 74U or something, they all kind of blend into one. But those journeys, someone said it before, you don't play DayZ, Nixus, there you go. You don't play DayZ, you experience DayZ. And you got an experience there, and you'll remember that. You will remember that. And I've got one myself where I got betrayed by a guy. And thankfully, I was recording. And it was only in editing what was a pretty fun journey that when I got to the point where I died, he had killed me. And he'd done exactly what you did, but I didn't catch on to it. And when I was editing it, I was like, oh my God, you fucking dirty rat. And I actually have spoken to the guy ever since. And it was one of my favorite videos that I've ever made. Didn't get a lot of views, most of mine don't. I'm a very boring player. But I'll never forget that. I will never forget that betrayal. That's what DayZ is more for me, is those journeys, those experiences, not just a game where you run and shoot everything.
Yeah, no, 100%. I should say there are moments, because I've never claimed to be great at PvP. I'm an okay player. I can handle myself if there's a gunfight. I know what to do, but I'm not like, let's say, Smoke level, for example. Smoke cleans up.
Oh,
he's very good. Yeah, I'm not near his level, but I do okay. So when it comes to interactions, I'm not worried that somebody's just sort of gonna best me every single time. There will be times I win, there will be times I lose, and that is part of it. And as you say, some of the experiences are really good. I was thinking about turning it into an episode. I got 6 kills with
wow,
6 bullets. 6 kills, 6 bullets.
You definitely have to. That's a video.
It was over a few hours, and it was again an SVD, and it was pure luck. Now SVDs are notorious for not really killing people when they hit.
Yep.
You have to get you have to get that right spot. But yeah, and not all of them were sniping either. So it was luck, and I couldn't believe it. And I thought about turning that into an episode, but my episodes tend to not do very well.
Look, don't be too hard on yourself. You know, when it comes to actual story style videos, man, isn't it just there's so many people fucking absolutely killing it, but the standard of videos has just risen so high.
Yeah, absolutely. I was watching Cobra's video the other day, his the mouse video.
Yep.
I thought that was really well done. You don't usually see that quality from channels that are below like 50, 60,000 subs, I find. But it was just a really well done, really engaging episode. So I'm sort of waiting to see the second one now.
Yeah. Yep. It's absolutely phenomenal. I'm trying to find that video for you, Lucas. But yeah, I've got quite a few videos on my channel, and I can't even remember what the name of the bloody video was. But yeah, going back to what we talked about before. What else would you like to see them add to DayZ or get rid of?
That's an interesting one. I'd like more vehicles for a start. I think the bus is something that so many people want.
Yeah.
I think that is something that they need to bring in. As we said earlier, dynamic events. I think that is going to be their bread and butter going forward. I think with a game like DayZ, there's just so much potential with that particular aspect. And also, I'd like them to make the guns feel more distinct. I think the guns right now are good. I enjoy them, but I do sometimes wonder if it would be nice if it felt a bit, let's say, weightier.
I like your thinking on that. I do, because I've thought similar myself, particularly going back to the issue with how overpowered the Mosin is, and some of the other bolties. One of the things I don't like is how quickly you can snap them up. They shouldn't be that easy to one-shot someone with. It should be something that's more of a deliberate act, because if I don't know, I know you guys in the UK don't get to do much with the way of weapons, but I do have quite a bit of experience with them, and it's not easy to whip up a long rifle to just quickly snap a shot off at someone. They're cumbersome. They've got a lot of inertia to them, and as opposed to your assault rifles or your smaller SMGs, and definitely a pistol, there needs to be the pistols should be almost instantaneous to whip up. Then your SMGs would probably be the next, and then your ARs, and then finally your long rifles. That would be something I would love to see them work on.
Oh, absolutely. Because, and I mentioned this the other day, we've now added more inertia to general movement. So it's now harder to escape let's say a sniper rifle, but it's not harder to fire. So that does put you at a disadvantage. So even like zigzagging around the place now, it's harder to do.
Yep.
They've slowed down the movements ever so slightly. Apparently going up hills and down hills, although I haven't experienced that yet. They say going up hills is slower. I haven't personally seen it. It feels the same to me, but the general movement does feel a little bit more slow. A little there's more inertia to it, and I think to do that to the movement but not the guns is definitely problematic.
Yeah.
But as you say, I do think it should go up in tiers. I don't think you should be able to quick scope. It's not a card game. It's a game where you have to think. It's a game of strategy. You have to have a lot of forethought for everything that goes on. So, yeah, I think I'd like them to add that to it. I also agree with what Lucas said about the soft skills. I think that would be really good as well.
Now, I have a thought on that, and I'm interested in your idea on that. One of the things I like about DayZ, now when it comes to soft skills, I am open to the concept. Like, you know, they did have, not a lot of people knew about it, but they did have a soft skill in that if you did a lot of construction, the bar would go towards the construction side, and then eventually you would, when you were harvesting wood, you'd get more wood once you reached a certain point. And if you did a lot of repairing, you used less of the item when you're repairing, the better you got with it. But they never fully implemented it, and it seemed like every time the server restarted, it got reset, which was kind of frustrating because it took a while to build it up there. But one of the things I like about DayZ as opposed to Scum, but I like it in Scum because Scum's a different game. DayZ ultimately just comes down to pure skill, a little bit on the technical side, you know, maybe you know how good your mouse settings are and how good your computer is, your ping and things like that. But ultimately, you and I end up in a battle. It comes down to how good we are and a little bit about, you know, the gear that we've chosen to take into that battle. Whereas you look at Scum, and you know, you've played it, so you're aware of it. They've got the skills side of it, and you know, if I'm running along and you've got a better camouflage rating than my awareness, I'm just not going to see you. If you're, you know, it's impossible for me to see you. The game won't let me see you because your skill level is higher. That doesn't sit well with me for DayZ. It's great in Scum, but Scum's its own game. I wouldn't like to see something like that in DayZ. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I know what you mean about Scum. Like, even driving a car, like, you can stall a car if your level is too low. It takes you a lot longer to reload, and so on. I do personally think there are little adjustments they could make, little things to just like the longer you've been alive, you know, as you say, like building, for example, having a skill to speed up your building would be good in my opinion, because it takes so long to build something that if you did have that little boost, then even if it knocks 20% of the time off, it's not affecting anybody else. You've still put in all the work, all the legwork that needs to be done, and then the game gets a little bit easier and you can start doing things a little bit faster. I think in terms of that would be good. I don't think there should be stats in combat. I think, as you say, that should be pretty standard. But even how, let's say for example, it takes you longer to get cold, or you get a little bit more stamina. Things like that wouldn't personally affect me negatively. I think it would be nice to see, because then you'd be wanting to stay alive for as long as you could, and the second you die, it resets completely. You've got none of them stats again. It just adds another element of risk onto the person. Like, do I lose this little buff? Because, like, let's say a 5 or 10% buff to stamina or staying warm, or even you know, you're 5% less likely to get ill. Things like that to me don't really impact the overall game. But it does add more risk, because there is that, again, the balance factor of, if you get your skills slightly up and you feel as though you're a little bit better, like, dying can come with a much higher consequence.
I was just doing a bit of testing there, but yeah, see, even
not months, we're talking weeks.
Even stamina and health and things like that, I'm not sure if I'm down with that, but I am open to the idea. I personally prefer the system like what Namolsk has offered, where if you don't pay attention, you get penalised for it, rather than having to, because you might see people trying to milk the system, game the system, to leave their character logged on and go off and do their chores and things like that, and just to get that extra time up so that they get the extra stamina or health or whatever. Whereas I prefer it. I love the frostbite function of Namolsk. That was game changing for me, where if you didn't care for your character, you took a permanent hit to your health. And man, when you get frostbite, you curse yourself.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I do like that system, but then there's a point where it becomes less fun. You have to have, for me anyway, you have to have a reward, and to put in, and you can be punished too much. And I think to have that as standard, or to have certain things like that, like across all maps, I think it then does feel like a punishment, and it feels as though the longer you're alive, because you've then sustained that issue, what you'll end up doing is just restarting your character anyway, because you might as well go somewhere F11 and then just run back and get your gear. You're you're fine.
Yeah,
you've got
okay.
no frostbite.
Okay, there's no real incentive to, other than your own personal, moral or ethic or whatever you want to call it. With I'm quite brutal on myself with respect to things like that. I very rarely ever will F11 or kill myself to get a better spawn. But yeah, I see your point there that if I can push through, there's a reason for maybe hanging on even though I haven't had the greatest start. Yeah, I see your point there.
Yeah, I think I know when in squads, if somebody's ill and we don't have medication, and they just get to a point and they're like, "I'll be back in a while," and they just sort of disappear.
Yeah.
So I've seen it a few times, and I think, like I say, it's very important, especially in DayZ, in a game that gives you so little for doing everything right. I think having just that slight little pat on the back in any way, shape, or form, the way you can get it is just such a good feeling to have when playing DayZ, because you can do everything 100% right, but then if you mess up that one thing, it throws everything off. You are completely done.
Yeah. Yep. What's your favorite weapon in the game?
Right now, it's actually the Pioneer.
Really?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Because it's weak. It's a weak weapon. It is. But I just love the look of it, and it's so silent. I did like the M16, M16A2. And I did from like 113. It came in at, I think, 113, and I just loved that gun for however long. But yet the Pioneer, it's an almost silent gun when sniping. People don't see you. You get a few shots in. You get the right shot in. You can put the scope in it. Is it the ATOG scope?
Yep.
Get a really good lineup, a really good shot. So that right now, that's my favorite gun, even though it's severely underpowered compared to every other gun in the game.
What's your least favorite gun?
Oh, I'm gonna get so much hate for saying this. The Savannah. I just think
I don't have much experience with it myself.
I don't know if it's me, because people seem to do really well with it, but I just have really bad luck with it.
Yeah.
The kickback, it just knocks me. I don't know why. So for me to use, that is probably my least favorite. Which is such a shame. But the new is it the SSG? That's quite decent. I've had a bit of a go with that. That's quite a decent for the level it's at, the police station level.
Yep.
That tier, it's actually not too bad.
One of the guys found one on the experimental server I'm playing, so next week I'll hopefully be getting a chance to try it out. myself. So I do like that addition. I know a lot of people were scratching their heads about it, but I think you summed it up. It's a decent mid-tier sniper.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun, and it's probably stronger than the Pioneer as well. But still,
Yeah.
And it comes with that scope standard. That's what's really good about it. It just comes with that standard scope.
What's your favorite place on the map?
Oh, wow. On Chernarus Pavlovo. I think it has to be. It's where I spent a lot of time.
Pavlovo town or Pavlovo military?
It would have been the military before the gas.
Yep.
Post-gas, the town. I used to build bases there, and I used to have constant interaction with people trying to get in. And you build a base there, and you will always have someone trying to raid you.
Yeah.
So I always enjoyed that part.
I like getting a car and just driving right into Pavlovo. It's probably my favourite one. Riffy shipwreck's a bit of a pain in the bum to loot. I always find myself getting lost on that fucking side with all the little cabins in it. But Pavlovo, you can just drive right in there and a crew of 4 and quickly loot up and get back in the vehicle and drive out and back to base. And yeah.
I built a base on the hospital roof
really?
of Pavlovo military. Yeah, and it stayed there for 6 months, I think.
Did you do a video of that?
No, I'm sure I have clips. Yeah, I'm sure I have videos somewhere, but nothing special happened. But yeah, I did put a small base on there, and then I put a stash with an NBC suit. A little while away, and every time I wanted to go back to the base, I'd just get the suit and then go back. It's good. It gives you a reason to pick up the filters when you go to like a medical facility. Most of the time, I just leave the filters. There's no point in them, unless you're specifically going to go somewhere. So it gives you a good point to sort of stack up on them, and then I'll add them back to the stash, and then eventually back to the base.
Yep. Least favorite place on the map?
Izzy.
Really?
Really? I've been there too much. Izzy is a place that it's very, very rare that you get positive interaction. I think that is an area where if you see someone, they're coming after you.
Yep.
So for me, that's probably one of my least favorite places. Not that it's not a good place. I enjoy it. I enjoy looting. I always go there. I just think I haven't really had the most fun because, I mean, it's once you get to the airport and once airfield and Tizzy and so on, it does just become a bit of a bloodbath.
It can do. It can do. I was always a bit disappointed that they didn't make Tizzy one of the gas zones.
Yeah, that would have definitely spiced things up because it's such a big area as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then it would have given people less reason to go to that particular part of the map. Right now, all roads sort of lead there. So I suppose if you turn it into a gas zone, it might sort of mess with the flow of the map. And
maybe they've got plans for stuff up there that we just don't know about. They do like to keep their cards very close to their chest, don't they, the dev team at the moment? And I don't blame them, to be honest.
I've noticed that. I also noticed, and I did really appreciate that. So it's Adam, and is it Matt? What's his full name? I can't remember his full name, but he genuinely put an effort into the live stream reveal for Livonia. I did really appreciate that.
How good was the Yellow King turning up in the Humvee at the end?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was all set out. They had the car waiting. They had everything sort of set. I did genuinely think that was a really good way to do it. Like they've clearly thought that through. and put some effort into it. So yeah, that
Even
was
just the release trailers that Scotty and the team have been working on has just, it's creating a bit of an aura of excitement around the game again, isn't it?
oh yeah, 100%. It's very well done. I've always said when I speak about the Daisy devs, I'm not talking about the people you see on the stream. I'm talking about the people in charge.
Yep.
You know, I'm not talking about the people who are doing the job and are trying to do the job to the best of their ability. Those two I have a lot of time for, as well as everybody else that's on that team. When I talk about the devs and making questionable decisions, and I have said this a few times before, it's not them. It is absolutely not them. Them are like, they are doing what they can. Um, they engage with the chat, and as we seen the other day, they try to make a really good uh, stream with some like scripted things, and yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is you have more questions about the way Bohemia as a company act as opposed to the guys who are actually making the DayZ game.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are the answer to people. You know what they can and can't do is restricted.
Yep.
That is basically. So whenever I criticize it, it's never those. You know, as far as I'm concerned, they're doing a really good job.
And look, it comes back to what you said about people leaving feedback on videos, provided you're doing it in a respectful, constructive format, and not just crying on fucking Twitter or anything like that. They listen. I don't know if you ever watched any of the podcast episodes, but we've been critical of the dev team in the past about some of the decisions they made with the game, but we still have a fantastic relationship with them because we do it with respect. We don't just sit there and call them, I've seen some awful things fucking said over the years about, Brian Hicks, Dean Hall, Eugen, all the rest of them. The one that makes me laugh at the moment is, does the lead dev of DayZ even play the game? Dude, do you know who Sumrak is? Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. Go on. Just go back to fucking Hello Kitty Island Adventure. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Yeah, because so there are so many things to mention, and it's when people play DayZ and they see things wrong and whatever else, it is easy to blame those who are sort of doing the stream, because that's who you see. They're the only, you don't see everybody in the place. You only see those two people. So for them to sit there and ridicule them or say anything, I think is completely out of order. I don't personally agree with it, but I do, for what it's worth, think they're doing things well, and you can see both of them as they're doing the stream. You can see Matt sort of reminding him, we've got a schedule here, you've got to get to this point and that point. And I think that's just, for me, that's what makes them look, and they clearly care.
Yeah, they do. Mate, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Because I think we've pretty much exhausted almost everything. Is there any information you want to drop, or when are you releasing this video you've been talking about? And
I mean, the video, I'll be releasing a video about the Hubba today, which pretty much tells people everything they need to know about it. That'll be coming out round about 2 hours from now. Other than that, no, I think we've pretty much covered those things, unless you've got any more questions.
What about you guys in chat? Any questions from you all for Mr. Always Who Never Streams?
This is the longest stream that I've done in about 3 years. That's the thing. If anybody says I don't stream, I'll be like, well, I've been in a stream, which is...
No, it doesn't look like anyone does. That's one of the bad things with YouTube for streaming, mate. Is there is always a bit of lag between it seems like there's a bit of bit more of a delay on YouTube between chat and us than you get on Twitch. But maybe that's something they'll work on in the future. But yeah. Mate, I want to say thank you, and I wish you all the best with the future. Your growth has been astounding, mate. You know, I've been doing content for DayZ since 2015, I think, and you know, even with you know, 4 of us now doing shows on this channel, the DayZ podcast, and me doing the Spotlight interviews. We're sitting at oh shit. I don't pay too much attention. Yeah, 3.5. I was right in my mind. 3,500 subscribers, and that's been since I started this channel back in. Well, let's quickly confirm it. While I find that out, B asks a very good question. How do you feel about pox vials?
Oh, I think they're an interesting addition. I personally still prefer just the general antidote. An interesting addition, and it's good that they've added more ways to sort of fight the virus, because I do think toxic zones in general are seldom explored by most people. I think most people just avoid them. If they say an area with an attack or something, they'll drive around it. So I think having the other additional ways to get rid of that virus is definitely a positive for a lot of people. It makes it more attractive. It makes it less brutal.
No. I think he means the hand grenade pox, the little vial you can throw at people.
Oh, right. Okay. Great for getting rid of campers. In that case, it stays a while as well. I did notice that. But yeah, I think they're good. Because you can technically just escape unscathed. You know, it causes a cut, I think, doesn't it? When you throw, you get your cut first, and then before the poison sits in, so you've got plenty of time to get out, and it does just act as a way to get rid of campers. So yeah, 100%. I think they're a really good addition.
I'm not a fan of them myself personally. I think they're a bit too overpowered. I do get where you're coming from with the great way to get rid of campers, but I just think that they're too overpowered. I'd much rather have seen something like tear gas or just
In what way are they overpowered?
They're lethal. You know, you throw it on someone, and they've got no choice but to run. I just think it went too far in one direction. I don't know if you've ever been tear gassed before, but tear gas is a good middle ground for me, in that it makes it very difficult for you to function, but you can to a basic degree, but it's not going to be lethal. So you can bolt out of there, but you don't have to worry about all those cuts and stuff. Yeah, maybe it could hurt your shock value and make you go uncon. I'm not sure, but to have something that is lethal, that, you know, if you don't get out of there in, you know, what is it, about 30 seconds or so, you've got the infection, and you're a dead man. So yeah, I just felt that and the 40 mil grenade as well were just maybe a bit too much, but provided that they're not too common, I can live with them. I'm not going to lose much sleep over it until some fucker gets me with one. Then I'll rant and whinge about it.
Yeah, see, like I say, the things you described there are the things that I attracted by, like getting rid of people. And as you say, there is a 25 to 30 second buffer before you actually suffer any damage. So I think it's good, and they are quite rare as well. I haven't actually been hit by one yet.
Yep.
I've used one, but I haven't actually been hit myself. So yeah, I quite like them, but I can understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Tear gas, yeah.
Yep.
Tear gas would definitely be a good addition. Again, stopping camping without the lethal aspect of it.
Unless there's anything else, mate, we will wrap it up there. Thank you so much, mate. Keep on killing it. It's great seeing so many up and coming people just this game that is so old, and there's still so many people just coming out of nowhere and growing, sizable channels about this game that that has had so much hate over the time. We've even got a special emote here on the channel. It's a clown holding a sign saying "dead game," because every time I hear someone say DayZ, it's a dead game, that one. And mate, go look at the fucking stats. It's far from a dead game.
100%.
It's one of those rare special games that has changed gaming. You can put Counter-Strike in there, Minecraft, DayZ. It's just spawned such an amazing legacy. Yeah, phenomenal. And it always makes me happy to see people like yourself doing so well on this amazing game.
Well, thanks for having me as well. It's been a really fun discussion.
Mate, I love doing it. I don't get a lot of viewers, but these videos go live and the views trickle in over time. So it'll get you a bit more exposure as well, which is pretty much what we're all about here in 87.8 Survivor FM, is just growing anything that's good for DayZ. We talk, GTA, probably not even just GTA 5, but GTA as a whole is one of those groundbreaking games as well. Just pity that Rockstar's not exactly the nicest company. Roblox, I think that's probably Roblox, but we're getting off track. Mr. Streams, thank you so much for agreeing to come on the show, mate. If you stay in contact with us, let us know what you're doing. We'll try and share your stuff as well. We've got a couple of thousand followers around the board, and just keep on doing what you're doing, mate. I love your style. I love your hustle, and I love your narration style as well. It's almost relaxing. You sound like a British children's show narrator.
Thank you. I did get compared to the guy from Blue's Clues the other day, so.
Really?
Yeah, that's I don't know if they meant the American one, the Australian one, the British one, but yeah, it was quite an eye opener.
My boy's 21 now, so I only remember the original guy from Blue's Clues. So yeah, Bob the Builder, maybe, but actually that, but I wonder if that's who I think you sound like.
This is just getting worse.
I actually played your voice to the missus, and I said, "Who does he sound like?" And she was going, "I see what you mean." She couldn't put a finger on it as well, but maybe it's just one of those, racist stereotypes that all British people sound the same. But because I said to her, "Is it something to do with Winnie the Pooh?" I'm not sure.
These are just getting worse. How is this getting worse? How did we start off a Blue's Clues guy and somehow just fall?
Hey, I haven't said Teletubbies yet, mate. So.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, mate. I can't thank you enough for coming on, and I'm glad you enjoyed the long chat, and might have to look at getting you on in the future when you hit that what was it? What was the projection for 5 years? 650,000.
50,
yeah, something like that. So Bob the Builder is still cool, man. I've still got all of my boys' toys from that show. He loved Spud, the Scarecrow. Anybody got a spare parsnip? It used to make him piss himself laughing every time he'd say that when he bent his nose. But we've kept those toys because they were legendary for him. But yeah, mate, all the best. Feel free to hang around in the podcast Discord. It's probably one of the most welcoming communities in DayZ because pretty much everyone in there loves DayZ, loves survival games. There's a bit of banter every now and then, but it's a great place for if you've ever got any questions on how to do stuff. For any videos you've got coming up and stuff like that. We've got the likes of Dumpgra. He's the guy who just typed in chat who made the barricades mod. He's also made a couple of other amazing forging mods and ammo making mods and stuff like that, which really added depth to the game that vanilla doesn't have. But pretty much everyone in there is just wants to help. And that's one of the things I'm proud of, is that we've got this amazing community full of people that are all just, if it's going to benefit the game somehow, then we'll do whatever we can to help you.
That's really good.
Awesome, buddy. All the best, and thank you so much once again.
Thank you, fam.
You're welcome.
Live